And then a quick review of a summary on the things that we presented. Decide on your cloud deployment strategy far in advance, whether it's VM centric, which makes it easy to move to the cloud, but you lose a lot of benefits of the cloud, or if you want to use a managed service centric approach. And use any licensing specialties that your company is contracted to your advantage, because you can get Azure hybrid benefits, you get licensed mobility, etc. Number two, right size for the workload. So that means you need to know your workload, and you need to know what kind of resources will match that workload, whether that is a particular instance class, a certain amount of memory, a certain kind of networking, a certain kind of storage and IOPS. Use those smart automations everywhere you can to control your spend and reduce the amount of usage, because every bit of a resource in the cloud that you use, you are charged for. Talk to Jeff and I afterwards if you want to spend more time figuring out about unused duplicate tables, poorly tuned SQL queries, all of those kinds of things. That will greatly reduce your costs if you spend some time tuning your performance.
Yeah.
And then finally, use those vendor budgeting tools to raise alarms, to control costs, and to correlate and attribute your into the right buckets. I'm sorry, Jeff, you had another point?
No, yeah. I just want to add, the lift and shift. If you're lifting and shifting an existing problem, you're going to have that same problem in the cloud. So you need to start your tuning exercise sooner than later. And if you're going to start a tuning exercise, I'm just going to put a feather over in Peter's hat, because if you don't have a tool, it's amateur hour. No offense to anybody, but I remember my first 10 or 15 years as a DBA, I wrote my own tools because nothing was available. And as I discovered that tools were available, you realize, A, you have teams doing things that you really can't do yourself. B, you have the ability to do a lot of slicing and dicing. C, every time a new release comes out, you don't have to go and recode things for the change system tables and contents and DMVs. And it just makes your life an awful lot easier and speeds things up. 20 years ago, if I was doing a tuning gig, I would spend a week tuning an environment. Today, I know at 10 a.m. on Monday morning, because I will send one of these tools ahead of me, and I will know exactly what's going on in the environment, exactly what it's doing, exactly where the bottlenecks are. So the tuning engagement starts on Monday morning instead of the discovery starting on Monday morning. So I very highly recommend, if you've never used one of these, or if you have a tuning tool that is sitting on the shelf and is really shelfware, pick a good one.
Right. And we see that happen all the time, where they're not happy with it, they don't use it, and it just sits on the shelf. Speaking of tools, you can see our products live if you want to play with them in our web portal against real live databases. DBO, the initial link I had was very long, so I just put a bit.ly there. Then we have DPA, and finally we have SQL Sentry. So you can play with any of those directly. If you also answered in the poll that you would like to see more information about any of these tools or all of them, we will contact you after the fact. If you mention in one of the polls that you would like help, then Jeff and his team will also respond to that to give you help with a health check and things along those lines. So with that, we didn't do too bad. We're just a few minutes over the hour here. I'm really impressed, guys. Jeff and I always joke with each other how it's not a question of whether we'll talk enough. It's a question of whether you can get us to shut up enough to.
Yeah, but
so right on. Good job, guys. We made it in time. Folks, I hope that this was useful information for you. There's a ton of content in here. So if you want the slide decks, drop me a note, kevin.kline@solarwinds.com. We'll also post this on our channel on Bright Talk. on our YouTube channel and so forth. So please get in touch with us. We'd love to help you out. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Take care.